The 89th legislative session is in full swing. Thousands of bills have already been filed by legislators. Accordingly, the debate details on bills can get overlooked, even on critical legislation. That's why we've asked legislators to come to TPPF to discuss their bills to ensure you're on top of the most important issues making their way through the Texas Capitol. This is the layout. I'm Jose Melendez, Campaign Director of TPPF's Taxpayer Protection Project. Today we're discussing Senate Bill 844 with Senator Bryan Hughes from Senate District 1. Chairman Hughes, welcome to the layout.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
So Senate Bill 844 seeks to reform the ballot petition process, also known as the Tyrant's Veto, which would facilitate an increase in the housing supply. Tell us what sparked the need for this legislation.
I think we all recognize that the American dream of home ownership is getting further and further out of reach for Texans. This used to be a problem in certain cities, maybe San Francisco. It's becoming a challenge everywhere, even in Texas. And so this bill will make it easier for common sense zoning changes that provide more housing and more opportunities for people.
Well, I think everyone can get behind reinvigorating that American dream. For a moment, could you walk us through the bill and tell us how it works?
Be glad to. So right now, let's say there's a proposed zoning change in a neighborhood. Under current law, if the landowner owning 20% of the land in the neighborhood objects, then the city council has to approve that change with a 3/4 supermajority. So that's why this is often referred to as the tyrant's veto, because only one landowner or someone having a fraction of the land in the neighborhood can stop the whole project. So we have two landowners. We have you wanting to do something with your property and your property rights, and then we have someone else in the neighborhood, one person, trying to hypercharge their property rights to stop you from using yours. So this bill would say, if you have a project like that the city is ready to approve, it should take more than just one landowner down the street. It should be 60% of the landowners that object. And even then, the city council can take a look, weigh all the factors, and still vote to approve it if it's in the best interest. So it lowers the threshold for how many people have to object, and it makes it easier for the city to approve it if they weigh all the factors and it's the best for housing and for the whole community.
Well, I certainly think Texans want more affordable housing. Can you tell us for a second how would the lives of those Texans be impacted once this is implemented and passes into law?
So the comptroller says we are about 300,000 housing units short just to keep up with folks moving to Texas with population growth. And again, we're talking about real people who would like to be able to buy a home, to be able to build wealth to pass on to their children, and of course a home for their families instead of having to rent. This is a big deal. So everything we can do that increases the supply of housing is going to lower housing costs everywhere in Texas, and that's good for everyone.
So some people would say that making it harder to reject new development would bring about unwanted change to the character of a neighborhood. How would you respond to those folks?
That issue always comes up, and again, it comes down to property rights. And you've heard the example, say you buy a new car, you buy a yellow car, and you park it in your driveway. And I'm your neighbor, and I'm say, hey man, I don't like that shade of yellow. I want you to get a new car. Get that car out of here. Of course I can't do that. But that is what we're doing in housing policy today. We're having one neighbor or a handful of people down the street say you can't make changes to your own property, and that's a problem.
Lastly, what kind of feedback have you received from folks on this bill?
It's been encouraging. This is a bill that uniquely is bringing together diverse stakeholders. Folks all across the spectrum see the need for this bill because we have to have more houses.
Well, Chairman Hughes, thank you for joining us on the layout.
Thanks for having me.